Okay, welcome to this maths lesson where we are going to be continuing, of course, with fractions, but now we are going to be moving on to something new, and that new thing is percentages. So let's actually stop all together for now and have a look at our star words. You'll notice some new ones in here now. Now, interestingly, we are still talking about equal parts and fractions. We'll still be talking about hundredths and things like that. But let's have a look at a few first. One of those is this word here, cent. We might have heard that word cent. For example, 1 cent is like a penny in America or in Europe. And we're going to talk about why that is later as well. Or you might have heard it as part of the word century or centipede or centenary or lots of different things like that. You are going to understand the meaning of this word as we go through the lesson. The others, of course, are percent, percentage, and then we're going to have to get used to this sign here, this percent sign. This is something that we will have definitely seen in our lives before, but might not have known exactly what it meant. And we're going to learn all about that over the next few lessons. Let's start here. There are 100 people in a bit of a stadium, as you can see here. 27 of them are children. How could you describe that? So there's so many different ways you could describe that. You could say there are 27 out of the 100 people are children. You could say 27 hundredths of them, 27 out of the 100 of them are children. You could say that there are 27 children and 73 adults out of the 100 people. Lots and lots of different things you could say about that. Lots of different ways of describing it. One way that we could describe it is by saying that there were 27% of the crowd are children. That is one way that we could describe it. And I'm going to explain why now. Okay. The word percent means per 100. Cent is another word for 100. Okay, so per means sort of out of, and cent means 100. So a percent means out of 100. A way that we can look at that is if we look at our percentage sign, it sort of looks like a 1 and 2 zeros. Here are 1 and 2 zeros. So that's how we remember the 100 bit. And it also looks a little bit like a fraction, doesn't it? Something over something else. So that is how we can sort of tell that we're working in hundreds. We're talking about something to do with 100 because of the 100 aspect of it. And we're sort of talking about something out of something else as well. So we're talking about fractional amounts, fractions of things. Okay. Before we dive too deeply into it, all we need to know for now is that percent means out of 100. Okay, so for example, this bead string that you can see has 100 beads. What do you think would be 1% of those 100? Knowing what you know about the word percent, it means out of 100. Can you identify what 1% of the bead string would be? Well done if you identified it's going to be 1. My apologies. Pen won't be funny. Oh, it doesn't like me doing that one at all. It doesn't matter. We can choose absolutely any of them, but as long as we are just choosing 1. That is 1%. 1%, meaning 1 out of the 100. That is what a percent is, okay? So what about if I ask you to find 5% of the bead string? What would that be? Well, it would have to be 5 of them. 5 out of the 100. So 5% is 5 out of the 100. And it could be 5 all in a row together, like that. Or it could just be 5 random ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again at the bottom, well, what percentage of the whole string is 10 beads? So here's a set of 10 beads. It's 10 out of the 100, 10%. 10 out of the 100. Okay, this is an opportunity for you to pause and have a go at working out what percentages of the whole string you can represent here. Okay, so you can pause the video now. Okay, welcome back. So, depending on what you have at home, you might have just talked through this, you might have drawn over the slides. It's entirely up to you. But what we really just need to know is percent means out of 100. So 100 beads in the bead string. Let's say I were going to find 35%. So I know that would be counting in 10, it would be this many. Counting 10s, and I've got 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So that'd be 35%. What percentage do I have left then once I've taken the 35% away? Well, to find out, I would just count the rest. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 65, just like that. So 35%, I highlighted it first, add 65% equals 100%, doesn't it? 35 beads plus 65 beads equals 100 beads. When I'm talking about percentages, I know that I want everything to add up to 100. That's the whole lot, the whole beads, for example. Another way, or one way that's really useful for us to think about percentages is using 100 square. I know this is 100 square because there are 10 across. 10 down. So without having to count every single one, I know that there are 100 squared in this 100 square. Let's have a look at this problem. There are 100 people sat in a section of a stadium. 14 support Switzerland. How could you represent this? Okay, so my 100 people sat in a stadium are represented by my 100 square. And that is 100% of them in total. The full set of 100 of them is 100%. Now, 14 people support Switzerland. So let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I could say 14 out of 100 support Switzerland. I could also say, because I know out of 100, I can use the shorthand for that, can't I? I can say 14%. Or I could say 1400. So 14 out of the 100. You can see the relationship here between all of the different ways of expressing it. 14 out of 100 is the same as 14 hundredths. It's the same as 14%. So now we have another problem. It's telling us that all of the people who sat in the shaded seats all bought an Olympic flag. What percentage of the people bought a flag and what percentage did not? So let's break that question down into two parts. Let's firstly work out what percentage of the people bought a flag. How am I going to work that out? I'm going to count up all of the people sitting in a shaded seat. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 there, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. that was 20 there, wasn't it? And then here I've got an array of 6 times 4, which was 24. So it'd probably be easy if I was doing this in a colour different font red. So I had these ones here, didn't I? I counted. I said that they were 20 altogether. And then I had an array of 24 there, 44% in total. Now, how would I work out what percentage of them didn't buy a bag then? Well, there were a number of ways I could do it. I could count all the white squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 56. So I could say that 56% didn't buy a bag. I could say that. Or what I could do is know that there are 100 in total. I could subtract the 44 that did buy a bag to give me 56. So that's a percentage sign there. Much easier, isn't it, than counting up once I already know one of them. Because I know that in my full set, a full set is equal to 100%. Okay. Because this is our first introduction to percentages, we are going to leave that there. We are not going to do much more to do percentages just for this one lesson. What you do need to do is move on to the independent task. The independent task for this lesson looks like this. So it's telling you, firstly, there are 100 people in this section of an arena, just like we looked at in the previous questions. What you need to do is take this 100 square, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a 10 by 10 grid. So each of them is 1%. And you need to do these 3 things first. You need to show that 14% of them are supporting Team GB. So what you can do is you can either shade the squares in if you know how to do that, or if you're not sure how, you could shade them in blue, look, as I've asked in the question, or if you're not sure how to do that, this is a table that you can just type into, like that, okay? So it's up to you how you do it, not a problem either way. And then you need to do the same. You need to shade 42% of the squares red, or you just need to write BR in them to show people supporting Brazil. And then 37 of the people are supporting the USA. Shade them green or write USA in them. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. And then at the end, you need to work out this question. How many people are supporting a team other than Team GB, Brazil, or the USA? So that's going to be how many percentages you have left. Now, I would recommend for this type of question that you do it in an orderly manner, that you start with the top left and you do all of GB, and then you carry on with all of Brazil, and then you carry on with all of the USA. See how many you've got left. Of course, if you want to do them in a really random, haphazard way, that's not wrong, but it might be a little bit more complicated. This shouldn't be the most difficult task. What we must remember is that percent means out of 100. Over to you.